Hello VR addicts, welcome to my channel. I am Paolo Trianni and today we're going to do a very short review on the Pimax 5K Plus. I have my 5K Plus here and I've already got it modded with the dual audio strap on it. I did have the Samsung Gear face mask thing on there, face pad, but I took that off just a second ago. So I'm going to go talk about the positives of this headset first before I go into any negatives, because people tend to just watch the first part and I don't want to get the impression that this is, you know, negative all the way through maybe, and not wanting to watch it. Like someone that already owns this headset just suddenly starts getting all the negatives and they're like, oh, this guy is a hater, and he'd be right. Well, no, let's start with the positives. Right, so the positives is the screen. The screen is nice and clean, actually. It's not got no more that I saw in it. It's got no real artifacts except for what causes the field of view artifacts, which we'll talk about later. But there's, you know, God rays is really minimal. Glare is non-existent. Mora is not really there, unless you think God rays is the same as glare, mind you. Then you know, and I think the screen door effect's very minimal. I think it's very good in this actually, and it's very clean and crisp, and the colors are not super bright, but they're more than good enough. You know, you're not going to notice much of a difference after you've used it for a month and nothing else, that's for sure. You're going to be fine with it, and I thought the blacks were kind of good enough as well. You're not going to really notice it unless you kind of like, you know, comparing it against an OLED all the time. If you stick on a Quest and then stick this on, you're going to probably see the difference very easily. But you know, if you don't, then you're going to be fine with it. So I think the screen is pretty damn good actually. It's a very good screen. Looks okay. And the lenses are okay as well, except for my ones come a little bit damaged, but I'll talk about that later. But the lenses don't seem to be too bad, except for the way they flatten out maybe. The build quality is pretty damn good as well. This is the P2 version. And the build quality doesn't seem to be as bad as I've heard about. It seems to be quite a solid headset, if I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm quite impressed with that as well. But you only really get the headset, and I'll go into that later as well. The field of view is magnificent. Obviously, as soon as you put this on, you can tell the field of view is massive. Even if you have it large, it's friggin' humongous. I mean, large is amazing. Large is where we need to be in any VR headset, but you can't have it on large because of distortion effects and stuff, so you put it on normal, and normal still is really good. It still beats any other headset, consumer headset anyway, out there, because you can't really, not anyone can afford an X-Tol and a Star V1, but you know, you can afford this, and if you're a field of view whore, this is definitely the headset for you, for sure, because field of view is just amazing in this. It really truly is, and it's where it shines as well. And you can see that with the clarity of this is where the Index and probably the Rift S wanted to make their screens more clean looking, like, because they probably had tried the Pimax, because the Pimax came before them, and with the Rift S it is a really clean screen, and obviously the Index as well, minus the glare on the Index, but you know, it is clean other than that, and this is pretty much the same scenario. So yeah, and I'm going to talk about the software as well. The software, I had a Pimax 4K, which I bought secondhand. It had stuck pixels, like it probably got thrown around a little, you know. So no harshness on Pimax there for that. But their software was really bad. It was glitchy, it was buggy, it was a nightmare. I think it was called PyPlay back then, and it was pretty bad. Now it's called PyTool, and I tell you, it's something. It works a lot better than that did back then, and I think they've done a really good job with it. There's so much options in there to pick from, like offsets, and you know, like you can change the field of view and also the hertz of the screen. It is fantastic. You can even do the render scaling in it, and parallel projections and all sorts. It's fantastic. I think the software is pretty good. Pairing up something like, say, and I'm going to grab my index controllers, it was very simple. I didn't get any glitches with it. Maybe one bug here, which was just very simple, which just got me to pair it again, and it was fine. You know, it's like the first pair just didn't pair up properly, and then I just did it again, it would flash or something, and then I'll do it again and it would work fine. No issues for me on that. And the way it works with Steam was pretty good. Also, the other good thing about this is I didn't have problem with games neither. You know, if the game didn't work properly, I put parallel projection on and it would work pretty fine. Like Borderlands 2 VR. But other games, you know, that didn't need that also worked perfectly fine. I kind of felt that I didn't really have much trouble with the games I tried, but I didn't try many games or else they'd be popping up there right now. You know, if I tried loads of games and I was in there quite a lot of times, you'd keep getting these scenes of me playing using this in the Pimax up there. But I'm going to go into why that is now, because we're going to go into some of the negatives. I'm going to leave the bad negative for me, and I think this is just personally me right to the end. Right, the field of view is better, but if you've got it on large, you've got distortions. We all know that. Everyone knows that. It's common sense. And it's not for everybody though, isn't it? Because some people don't, some people do, but I did, and I could see the distortions and fishbowl. Fishbowling was there as well. When I went to normal, the distortions were pretty much near to nothing, and the fishbowling was a little bit more than the distortions, but it was definitely reduced in normal, and it was playable, very playable in my opinion. It depends on how much that kind of nitpicks you. It's like God rays and glare kind of really mess with my head, but it doesn't mess with your probably head, and it doesn't mess with a few other people's heads. Distortion being about 1 millimeter at the end, and then the fishbowl being about like 1 centimeter more or something like that is not bad. Distortions and fishbowls, you might argue, might be the same thing, and that's a good argument, but I kind of think warped is a little bit different than something being completely distorted. And this is what I'm talking about: distortion being distorted kind of image completely, and then a kind of like a little bit warped image near to the edges is what I was getting. I don't know why that was, but if I got to play with it more, maybe I could have got that out, because there's so much you can play with this. And I kind of felt playing with this was a lot easier than, you know, everyone says, oh, don't get the Pimax if you don't like fiddling too much. And I kind of think that, well, you know, there's people modding out there, and there's people got Vorpex, and those are a lot harder to play around with than I thought this was. This is a lot more user friendlier than those headsets, and I'm supposed to still be on the negatives, but that's kind of a positive there. The other negative is when I was going about the lenses, I said they were perfectly fine, but this, I got my first P2 headset had an audio jack that was broken and the cable was knackered. So I sent that back because obviously that was a faulty unit. I got this unit back, and this unit came back with scratches on the lenses and scuffs. Now I'm going to try putting a picture up here, and hopefully you can see the scuffs. So I'm not happy about that, but when you're in game, you don't really see it as much, except like one of the scuffs on the left side a little bit just looks like it's probably like fogged over a little bit, like, or you know, sometimes you just see it. It's not really that distracting. It depends on how sensitive you are to it, but I didn't think it was that bad. But that's just this headset. It seems almost weird that didn't get caught up in the quality control checks. I've got a cat going over my light, so if my light goes, it's because my cat. Let me see if I can get. Say hello to Lily. Say hello, Lily. Don't look like you want to be here anymore. I've got you all nervous. You're kind of wet feet though. You've been outside. It's raining. The other issue I kind of had with this is the sweet spot. And now there's a positive with the sweet spot and an issue with the sweet spot, but it's not a big issue. So this is not a biggie, this is more of a nitpick. When I put the headset on, I'm pretty much, there's two types of sweet spots in my opinion as well. There's one of how you can get into the sweet spot so quick, and how far your eyes are in the sweet spot when you move your eyes, not your head, your eyes. So when I put the headset on, I'm in the sweet spot pretty much straight away. However, I have to tilt the headset like this to get really into it. So there's a little bit of vertical sweet spot play that I have to kind of do to get into it a bit more. Might be something to do with my IPD. You know, your IPD can change things quite a lot for a lot of people, and mine's 60 millimeters, and when I change this to 60 millimeters, I kind of have that issue, I believe, as well. And how it sits on my head is kind of how it goes like that as well, because obviously everyone's head's different as well, is what I'm trying to say there. So your head might be different, and you might find the sweet spot quicker. So that, you know, it's not too bad. But with the Rift S, you can just chuck it on the index. You just fiddle a little bit with it with the index, but it's quicker on those headsets, is what I'm trying to say. This headset's definitely quicker than other previous headsets before that. So it's not a complete negative. But the negative part is when your eyes are kind of like looking around in it. Now this has got such a large field of view that it's kind of acceptable a little bit, because the field of view, from when I'm looking in my eyes and I suddenly start looking this way, I can get probably past the index maybe before it starts to get fuzzy. You know, it starts to blur out, and then get, you know, it's just, and then it's fishbowl, and then it's distorted for the last millimeter or whatever, very small. And if you've got an index, or if you're thinking about getting an index, you don't get that at all. Well, I don't get it. I get a sharp image all the way to the end of the view and the index. On the Rift S, I pretty much get the same. It's like a millimeter at the end or something. It's very small. And some people with the Rift S don't get it at all. They actually get a clear screen all the way to the ends as well, looking, you know, with their eyes left and right. With this, shamefully, you don't, but it is a larger field of view, so I don't know what to expect. And it's also pioneering the larger field of view. So yeah, so it's not really a negative. It's just, you know, you're not going to get that sweet spot all the way to the end by just moving your eyes. You're going to have to move your head a little bit more as well. But then you can actually see something, because it's not completely blurred. If something comes from those field of views, you'll see it. It'll just be blurry until then you'll look, and then it'll be clear. So yeah, that's my only negative. Now I'm going to go now and talk about my major negative with this. And this is like personal to me, because I don't think this is the same for everybody, but I kind of have a feeling a lot of people have this negative a little bit as well. When a Pimax is shipped, it's shipped with this head strap, right? This looks like a flipping G-string or something. You know, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's really uncomfortable. This single-handedly beats the Quest for uncomfortable headset I've ever tested. I've tested a lot of headsets. I've had a Samsung Odyssey, I've had like a HP, I've had a Samsung Gear for a little while. I've had quite a few headsets, and this really hurts me. It really hurts, and I'm going to explain exactly why. Because as you can see, I've got the Deluxe audio strap, so it should be a lot better, right? Well, the Deluxe audio strap does help with the parts it's touching, that's sure. And yes, it really does fix the wobble. If you've got this on, you're going to get a wobble, and it's going to be all over the place, and then you're searching for that sweet spot again because you've just come out of it, because, you know, the vertical, like I said, sweet spot's not the best. You kind of have to get it vertically right, in my opinion. But and then this is just so bad, it could literally just wobble right around your face. You'd be like, I'm not even in it, it's behind me now. You know, it's that bad of a strap. You have to change that strap straight away, and they should not ship it out with that strap. I know they've got their new straps out now, and they should start just making that a thing, where every headset comes with that new strap. And that does make a difference. However, I kind of find that the face part is not right neither, because it sits on the edge of my nose to get the perfect sweet spot. Now, if I sit it like where it's supposed to sit, and even that will hurt, because my IPD squeezes the lenses onto my nose basically, because it's so short. So anyone with a larger IPD is going to be more happier with this headset, I reckon. With shorter IPDs, I think it becomes a worse headset to have. And it sits on, so like to get it sharper, I push it down, and then when it's sitting about here on the edge of my nose, it's super sharp, and it's really nice, and I love the screen quality when it's there. However, all the weight is on the tip of my nose, so after about 5 minutes of playing any game, I'm in agony. I'm thinking, like, this thing's going to take my nose off. If I carry on playing this thing, using this thing, should I say, my nose is just going to get ripped off, really badly ripped off. And this was the same with the previous P2 I had, and this P2 model I have here as well. Both of them are ripping my nose off, and this is the reason why I've also got the the Samsung Gear face pad, just so it could be more padded for my nose, but it didn't work. It just didn't work. I need something a lot more paddier for my nose than this. One thing I do like is they've got Velcro on there though, to take it off and on with, which is very nice touch, and well done Pimax for that. But I definitely need more support on my nose region, because it's just unplayable, really. It's really weird. It's like I could be in a CV1 and enjoy the game if it was just comfortable, and a CV1 is comfortable, so I can enjoy it. This is really good quality screen realistically, but I can't enjoy it because I'm just suffering from my nose feeling like it's about to be ripped off. It's really bad, and I've tried. I can't really rest it off my nose because it goes off the sweet spot. It has to literally sit on there. It's really weird. So maybe more padded. There was a time where I don't know if I've still got it around. The cotton wool buds that you get, like girls get to take off their makeup and etc. and stuff like that. I had one of those around here at one point, and I slipped it between this gap here, and it helped so much. That's probably the only time where I actually got more than like 5 minutes out of games. And that's the reason why games are not popping up here, because I'll be in it and I'll be like testing all these games out, and I just can't stay in them for very long. I need a break. I need to give my nose a break, or else it's just going to rip off. You know, it's quite awful on my nose, and I don't think that's going to apply to everybody. I don't think everyone's got a massive nose like me. And also their eyes are probably a little bit more higher up or something, and you know, so all of you, you know, not going to have this problem, but this is my biggest problem with it, and it's really a nitpick really to an individual problem, or it's sort of an individual problem totally, because I honestly don't think everyone's going to moan about that. It's not going to be the biggest thing you probably read on Pimax, Pimax, whatever. So yeah, the IPD slider is really good. It works really well. The offset in the settings makes it the offset in the settings is the only thing that kind of relieved my nose a little bit, because not only was it sitting on the edge of my nose, but it was also pinching my nose because I had to have it on like 60 millimeters, and because they've got an offset software adjustment as well, I could put the offset a little bit and then higher it up a little bit, so then it was not so pinching. So that was great. So I'm glad they have that software. That's Pimax really thinking ahead. Pimax have done amazing things with the software and their headsets over the years to make it even better than it is today. And you can see that, because I was expecting, and this is my out talk now, on my overall thoughts now on this. I was expecting this headset to be a complete train wreck, and it kind of was, to the fact that I've had 2 models now that have been kind of a little bit defective. But that just seems to be quality control, and that could be anything from, because this came from Amazon warehouse, so somebody might have opened it up and scuffed it. Like, who knows what goes on in those warehouses? I mean, those people, those poor Amazon employees don't get paid enough, do they? So they're very salty people. I'm not suggesting it was them. I'm just saying there's lots of reasons why that the lenses were like they were when I received it. Amazon could have just chucked it back on the shelf and then chucked it back out to a customer, sorry, and that's probably the reason why. But I was expecting it to be completely distorted. I was expecting it to be CV1 almost in all the artifacts and crap, you know, and Vive-like, you know. But I was mightily surprised that the screen's actually very good. I was mightily surprised that the field of view was very, very good, and I could live with what little tiny bits of, you know, the sweet spot being blurred out a little bit and it slightly being a little bit warped in some games. I could live with that. I could really live with that. I don't mind getting my own audio solution, because sometimes when some people have their own audio solutions, it can be really bad, minus Index, which is fantastic, obviously. But, you know, I've actually not had a headset where they've had a proper audio system in it that's been really bad, other than what the Quest and the Rift S have done with their stupid one. They're the only 2 really bad ones, but you can change them out as well, which I have done. But these, obviously the the Deluxe audio strap is actually pretty good with audio, so it's a shame it doesn't come with the amount of money you spend on this as well. You'd expect a better strap and some audio solution, but you know, if you're a field of view whore, then this is fantastic. I think overall, get this headset if you want a better field of view, but bear in mind you might have to adjust it for comfort, and bear in mind that you might not have to ever get that comfort right, and if that's the case, then you might have to return it. But I think everything else on this is fine. I think that it's oversaturated. Comments from people, you know, yeah, I mean, there was like, what, I don't have the controllers near me, but the touch controllers like have a crack in them, and some people have got cracks in them, but that's like a very small percentage of people that use those Index controllers, and I drop mine all the time and they haven't cracked yet. But Reddit could like explode on a witch hunt about that, couldn't they? Just like Reddit could explode in a witch hunt when, you know, you get a crack on here or the cable breaks and stuff like that. You know, sometimes nitpicks happen with faults happen with stuff like this. And, you know, this is a fairly new company, not a massive company, Pimax. And I think they've done an amazing job for what they've got here as a product. But they need to keep working on it to get it perfect. And you know, they need to really think about getting a comfort solution. They have got a comfort, they've got a new comfort solution, actually, I should mention that, on their website, but it costs like $100 or something, doesn't it? And that's a lot of money for just comfort that should come already with a headset. So don't sell it as a separate part, Pimax. Sell a full solution headset with your audio strap that you've got. The new audio strap that you've got, we've seen recently. We saw it you showcasing in November in France. I believe, not France, it was Belgium, wasn't it? No, it was Netherlands. It was Netherlands, right? You were showcasing it in the Netherlands, and you were doing showcases everywhere. You were in Germany as well. And you showed this new sort of like your own version of something like the Deluxe audio strap, and it was fantastic looking. It was amazing. So please just ship your headsets with that. You know, price it up and ship it with that. Don't friggin' ship your Pimax headsets with this G-string thing. You know what I mean? This probably used G-string thing as well. I'll keep that for later. Yeah. So, and also for the face pad, if it pad more the nose section, please just pad it more for the people like myself, or just send in another pad. This is just a simple little tiny piece of, it can't cost you much, surely. Just send a bigger padded one with your Pimaxes. That'd be fantastic. I didn't get much light bleed other than the usual light bleed through the nose area. I was going to get a lot if it's just sitting on the end of my nose through the nose, but I didn't find much around the edges, especially the top end, maybe the sides a little bit, but I wasn't really looking for it, so I didn't really notice it. So yeah, overall, I think it's a very good headset. It's just not good for me. It just does not fit my head very well, and that's a problem. And the fact that, like I said, the scratches on here are not that noticeable, but very scuffed, very poor quality control on the lenses there. So, and I'm finally feeling Amazon are shipping out warehouse headsets as new headsets at the moment. I'm very convinced it's not Pimax on this particular occasion. So overall, yeah, thumbs up. Great job, Pimax, on field of use. I'm gutted the comfort doesn't fit me, because I really would love to invest eventually one day in that nice 8K X that they're going to bring out, the 8KX. It's going to be an amazing headset. I really look forward to that. Obviously, it's built exactly the same way, pretty much in the nose area, I'm sure. So I'm pretty sure it's just not going to fit my head. It's like people they're buying the Rift S, right, and they're out of the IPD range, and we know somebody recently, I don't want to really mention names, but his IPD was about 70, and what happens there is, like, the software adjustment really just cuts off so much of the screen that, the field of view is just minute, and it probably was blurring a little bit, but it wasn't blurring enough for that to be the most noticeable problem compared to the smaller field of view. So yeah, the Rift S just wasn't going to work for somebody with that kind of IPD. Just like the Pimax doesn't work for me, because I've got too much of a small IPD and my face just does not fit it. It's a damn shame, because it is really clear inside, and I kind of liked it, and I thought it was easy to use. So yeah, if you like this video, please give me a like, and also subscribe, because it goes straight to my heart. And also hit the bell button if you want to get more videos like this one you've just seen here, notified of more videos. And also leave a comment. What do you think? Do you like your Pimax? Do you think you'd get a Pimax? Without over exaggerating, it's really bad when you've got people going, "Oh, I wouldn't buy a Pimax, their quality's rubbish," but you've never owned one. So yeah, maybe they're not. Maybe give it a go. But at the end of the day, the Pimax is about the field of view. So if this headset is about, if you want a bigger field of view, you get this headset. It's your only option for a really large field of view, unless you've got money for an X-Tol or a flipping Star V1, which are not consumer, I believe. But you might have to register somewhere as a company. So yeah, tell me in the comments what you think, and you have to do all 4 of those things if you want to get into the weekly competition to win a free VR game key. It'll be random. I will probably hand out a list, but if you want to win that, you do have to do all 4 of those things. You don't have to do all 4 of those things every week. Obviously, if you've already subscribed and you already hit the bell button, you don't have to do them again. But yeah, hit a like on any of the videos that are released this week. Also, make a comment on any of the videos this week, and you will get into the competition, and I will use a random key generator to pull your number out of how many people commented and see who wins. So yeah, thank you for watching this very short review, very unscripted, very just dive straight in, because I just don't have the time for this at the moment. Boneworks is about to release, and we're all hyped about it. And also that Pimax is going back, because obviously I like my nose. I need it for breathing, I need it for smelling. You know, I love to smell good food. You know, there's lots of things I use my nose for. You know, sometimes I use my nose to poke open the door, you know, when my hand's not free. I mean, I need that bit of my nose, you know. I mean, if I get into a fight, who's going to break this nose, huh? How am I going to get my frigging bone works down below by... Some people get off in fights. I just heard that the other day. Anyway, thank you for watching. Very, very much appreciate it. Yeah, love you long time. Ciao.